what it means to me, it means the loss of a lot of good buddies, and the only way I can show them respect is by being here. I'm the president of POWMI Sarasota Chapter, and I got buddies still over there missing in action. Some are still POWs, so in honor of their respect, we keep their movement so they're not forgotten alive.
Well, it's nice to see that there's a lot of people coming out to support, our fallen veterans that have fought for us and the reason we have the freedom we have.
I remember people remember the sacrifice that these men went through and what they gave, and not only them but their families that had to bury their loved ones.
Well, soon we're going to be we're going to have a website soon. We just got our 501c3. We're looking for a place to have our meetings and get things going to let more people know what's going on. We have respect for a lot of the other. My dad was in World War II in Iwo Jima, so we're doing this. Us Vietnam vets guys have no respect, and we're trying to stay out here. We'll be at the parade tomorrow in downtown Sarasota to show that, hey, Vietnam veterans are human, and we do need the respect.
It's a very special day for me because I'm a Vietnam veteran and I lost a lot of my buddies and friends over there, and this is a way for me to memorialize them and their legacy and all the Vietnam veterans and other veterans of other wars. It's a very special day. This is wonderful to see that people respect veterans today. When I came home from Vietnam, I was afraid to tell anybody that I was a Vietnam veteran because there was so much discord going on in the country, and we were being, marginalized in the media as drug dealers and baby killers, and but I'm glad that the country has seen its way and they're starting to honor veterans, and especially Vietnam veterans. I would say that people take time out of your busy schedule of life and go to a cemetery and stand there and look at those crosses and look at those stones and stars and say thank you. Thank you to the men and the women that made this country safe and made this country the home of the brave and the free.
I think the thing that really drives me is the patriotism that is so present with everybody here. And of course it brings back a lot of memories from when I was in Vietnam. But the pleasure is actually to be surrounded by so many veterans and people that I've always learned to, over the years, respect, and it's just so heartfelt, and it makes me happy to be here, and I'm honored to be among all these people. Yeah, it really does. I lost a lot of good friends in Vietnam that I served with. And but you're right, it's that feeling of camaraderie and the love that I feel for everybody here without even knowing them. But they served in Nam, and that's what makes me I'm proud to be here because of them. I would say the importance of Memorial Day is to never forget that the freedoms that we have today in this country have been earned, because they're not free, by all those who have served in the armed forces in all the wars that we've ever fought. Thank God for our president and our way that we live today through the Constitution. And like I said, I'm very proud to be a part of the scene here. Thank you.
Well, I'm a Vietnam vet. I did 5 tours, I'm sorry. Over 2 years of duty there, and it's just something that I have to do due to the fact that when we came home we weren't honored, and I have to honor anybody who ever served or whoever lost anybody, or it's just something that I have to do. Oh, it's super. It's really something. I know we didn't have this 40 years ago when I came home. It was. We were told that we lost the war and stuff like that, and it should never, ever, ever happen again. I really appreciate everybody, and I appreciate the kids up on stage and all the support of the whole community. Never forget. Never forget what we wrote a blank check. I wrote a blank check for 4 years. What did you want me to do? It was just something that we did for our country when we were young, and not young anymore, but I still have my heart in the right place, I think.
Well, Memorial Day is about thanking the veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice. And through every generation of people that have served, those that have given the ultimate sacrifice on the battlefield to make sure that our freedoms and the things that we as Americans truly believe in are protected. And so coming to a ceremony like this, and it's great to see all the people that are here to give tribute to those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. And I think it's important at least once a year to do that, and make sure that we remember the things that our military veterans, our service members do every day, deployed all over the country and all over the world. And so I'm happy to be here with my family, and always happy to serve the people of Sarasota. Yeah, I think it's great. It also shows the level of commitment that the community has for veterans and support of veterans, which is why I sponsor a veteran piece of legislation every year. I work very hard to make sure that the state of Florida is the most veteran-friendly state that we can have in the union, because I think it's important. We have a lot of veterans that live here. Congressman Buchanan's congressional district is one of the most highly populated districts for veterans. So we have a lot of veterans that live here, and we have a lot of people that respect and thank what our veterans have done. I think that's great. I think we are giving thanks for those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. So if it's thanking a veteran, if it's going to a Memorial Day ceremony like this, anything you can do to show your thanks for the sacrifices that those in the military have made prior to us, I think is important.
Well, Memorial Day is so different from Veterans Day, and unfortunately too many people tie them together. The people here we're to honor today are the ones that didn't come back, or the ones who have died for the cause, who have fought for America. Veterans Day is a wonderful, wonderful celebration. As you know, I'm very, very big on it. But for Memorial Day, I think it takes the time to reflect. I think it always bothers me when people say, have a happy Memorial Day. There is no such thing, but I'd love to have them have a patriotic Memorial Day. And if they can have a patriotic Memorial Day and appreciate all that's been given to them by so many people who gave it for their lives, gave it so these people can have it for free. It actually shows that Sarasota, Manatee, DeSoto, Hardy County, they really believe and support the veterans. We have one of the largest veteran populations in the country for retiring veterans and people who come down here. We have a lot of senior citizens who appreciate, watch their fathers go to war, watch their brothers and sons go to war for the country that we're all fighting for. And so I think when I look around out here, it actually brings tears to your eyes just to see the patriotism that the people have got. I think the importance of Memorial Day is you can't forget. And unfortunately, too many people do forget. Unfortunately, we don't teach enough civics in school that these students are growing up. They're not knowing of the sacrifice that the people. When I was a kid, when you were a kid, when the parade came down the road, everybody stood up, took their hat off, put their hand over their heart. Okay, I mean, it just always happened. And these younger people today are missing that opportunity. I think the worst thing we ever did in America was to get rid of the draft. And I'm not saying everybody has to go to war, but everybody should be able to give something back to their country so they can feel the pride that these people feel when they see it. I did 4 tours over in Vietnam and loved every minute of it. I was in air sea rescue, and anytime you're in rescue and you're helping other people, it's a good life.
We have 10 minutes until the ceremony begins. And now please welcome the Sarasota Military Academy drumline under the direction of Major Michael Finley. I want to welcome everybody. My name is Glenn Herman, United States Marine Corps. I want to introduce our host today, Lieutenant Colonel Lee Kichen. Colonel Kichen is the chairman of the Sarasota National Cemetery Advisory Committee. For 10 years, he was a veteran service officer with the Veterans of Foreign Wars at its state service office in the Veterans Affairs Regional Service Officer in St. Petersburg, Florida. Prior to assuming this position, he was a veteran service officer for Sarasota County. Additionally, he was the legislative director for Florida's Veterans of Foreign Wars and chairman of the VFW National Legislative Committee. He retired from the United States Army in 1997 with 27 years of service as an armor officer. He served in various command and staff positions in the United States and overseas. His military decorations include the Legion of Merit with 1 oak leaf cluster, the Meritorious Service Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters, the Army Commendation Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters, the Army Achievement Medal, and the Korean Defense Service Medal. He also wears the Army Staff Identification Badge, the Army Superior Unit Award, the Republic of Korea Presidential Unit Citation, and he is a Distinguished Knight of the Order of St. George for his contributions mounted to warfare. He was recognized by the Veteran of Foreign Wars Post 3233 as its Man of the Year, Elks Lodge 2495 as a Citizen of the Year, and Bradenton Sarasota Chapter of the Military Order of the World Wars with the Silver Patrick Henry Medallion for patriotic service, and the Sarasota County Veterans Commission as its Veteran of the Year. He holds a Bachelor's of Arts with the University of Massachusetts at Amherst and a Master's of Arts degree from Pacific Lutheran University and Chapman University. In addition to his civilian education, Colonel Kichen is a graduate of the Army's Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and the Air War College, Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama. He and his wife, Carol, reside in Sarasota, Florida. And now let me introduce our host for today, Colonel Lee Kichen.
Glenn, thank you very much for that introduction. As you can tell, he's a Marine. He'll let you know he's a Marine. Glenn served in the Marine Corps from 1968 to 1969, and then he's worked for the Department of Veterans Affairs since 2003. Presently, he's the lead cemetery representative and volunteer coordinator at the Sarasota National Cemetery. Again, Glenn, thanks for all that you do. With us today are the following dignitaries, and please stand when your name is called. We have Sarasota County Commissioner Carolyn Mason, City of Venice Mayor John Hollick, member of the Florida House of Representatives, the Honorable Greg Steube. Greg is also an Iraqi freedom veteran. Representing the Honorable Ray Peelan of the Florida House of Representatives is his senior aide, Pat Nickel. Representing the Honorable Vern Buchanan is Danny Ballou. City of Sarasota Mayor Willie Shaw. With us today, he must have received a visa. We have the Manatee County Sheriff Brad Steube. Obviously, they're not writing enough tickets in Manatee County. Thank you very much, Brad. Those of us who participate in Memorial Day services often focus on the mourning the loss of veterans. It makes little difference if he or she died on the battlefield or lived a full and productive life after his or her service ended. Besides mourning our collective losses, we need to express our thanks for their service to this great country. Today is more than a day of mourning, but a celebration of the lives of those who serve this great nation. Today is about remembering, reflecting, and respecting. As long as we have men and women who willingly place their chest between an enemy bullet and America, we will breathe the air of freedom. We owe a debt We owe them a great debt of gratitude that we can never repay. Today we will do something different. From 1964 to 1975, Americans served courageously in the Republic of Vietnam. After the conclusion of the traditional Memorial Day program, please remain for a short ceremony honoring the Vietnam veterans in attendance. I'd like the Vietnam veterans to stand. Offering today's invocation is Ted Smith. He served as a corporal in the United States Marine Corps from 1960 to 1964. He spends countless volunteer hours with the Tidewell Hospice Honored Veterans Program and is currently president and chaplain of the Sarasota County Veterans Commission.
Please uncover. Heavenly Father, we invite you to join us here today and rejoice in your presence. In the quiet sanctuaries of our own hearts, may we lift up to you our loved ones who have died, whose hearts and hopes are known to you alone. Hear our prayer for those who gave their lives in the service of others, and accept the gift of their sacrifice. May the families know of our gratitude and sorrow. Help us to shape and make a world where we lay down the arms of war and cultivate a harvest of justice and peace. Father, as we gather to honor and remember, may our thoughts and words be seasoned with your grace. Hear our prayer this day, and in your mercy answer us in the name of all that is holy. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of colors, and please remain standing for our national anthem performed by Sarasota Military Academy Cadet Lauren Medred.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Dismiss the colors. Please be seated. Representing the Sarasota County Board of Commissioners is Carolyn Mason. She was elected to the Sarasota County Commission in 2008. She previously served on the Sarasota City Commission from 1999 to 2003 and as mayor from 2001 to 2003. She was born in Sarasota and has 3 children, 14 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren. That was last year's number. We got any more?
It's still the same.
Still the same. Okay, you must not have an election coming up then.
No.
With a brood like that, you can never lose an election in Sarasota. She is a graduate of the Sarasota Community School, Leadership Sarasota, and from the Gulf Coast Leadership Institute of the Gulf Coast Community Foundation. She has been employed by Habitat for Humanity and the Salvation Army, where she was the Director of Family Support and the Intake Manager, respectively. With a special interest in social issues, she serves as the County Commission's representative on the Suncoast Partnership to End Homelessness, the Community Action Agency, the Enterprise Zone Development Agency, the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council, and the Suncoast Workforce Board of Directors. Ms. Mason also represents the County Commission on the Minnesota League of Cities. Her awards include the Human Development Award for Community Service by the West Coast Center for Human Services, the Women of Color Award, the NAACP Freedom Award, the She Knows Where She's Going Award, and from Girls Club Incorporated, and the Freedom Fighter Award, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Minnesota, Sarasota Chapter. Please welcome my friend, your friend, Carolyn Mason.
Good afternoon. Whereas Memorial Day was established almost 150 years ago to honor the thousands of men and women that have given their lives to secure America's freedom, national ideals, and a lasting peace. And whereas our commitment to freedom, justice, and human dignity has been challenged many times since then in many parts of the world. And whereas we as a community have a duty and obligation to recognize that our freedom isn't free. Now, therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners of Sarasota County, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 25th, 2015 to be Memorial Day in Sarasota County, signed by each of the 5 commissioners and presented this 24th day of May 2015.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you very much, Carolyn. Carolyn and I have been doing this for about 10 years now. I'm beginning to think it's habit forming. Thank you. John Rosentrater was named Director of the Sarasota National Cemetery effective May 20th, 2012. In this role, he is responsible for the burial, maintenance, and administrative operations at this great national shrine. Prior to this position, Mr. Rosentrater was Assistant Director of Florida National Cemetery from March 2008 and served as Assistant Director of the Fort Logan National Cemetery in Denver, Colorado from September 2005. He also served as the director of the Port Hudson and Baton Rouge National Cemeteries in Louisiana. While there, he had the privilege of serving as the acting director of the Natchez, Mississippi, and the Alexandria, Louisiana National Cemeteries for 5 months. Mr. Rosentrater started his VA career in 1989 at the Portland VA Medical Center. He attended the Portland Community College in Oregon. Please welcome John Rosentrater.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many of you were here in the tent in 2013 when I was thanking the Patterson Foundation for their future gift of the Patriot Plaza when I said it will protect us from the rain and the snow. Well, it's certainly given us shade today, and we appreciate that very much. That's right. So a big thank you to the Patterson Foundation, as here we are in the Patriot Plaza. I just want to say also, if this is your first time of being here and maybe haven't heard, every veteran and their spouse are eligible for interment in a national cemetery. And if you want more information, I know we have an information table over here, and I believe we have at least 2 information tables. If you'd like to pick up a brochure from one of our excellent volunteers, please do so. So to begin my speech, I just want to say, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and our nation's veterans, good evening, and thank you, Lee, for your kind introduction. It is an honor and a privilege for me to be here with all of you today, assembled in this beautiful Patriot Plaza. I want to thank Lee Kichen and the Sarasota National Cemetery Advisory Committee for all their hard work in organizing today's ceremony. Once again, you've done an outstanding job. I salute you on behalf of the National Cemetery Administration for your outstanding support of veterans and their families. And to the members of all the veteran service organizations who are participating in this ceremony today, thank you. On behalf of the Interim Undersecretary of Memorial Affairs, it is my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to the most beautiful cemetery in the nation, Sarasota National Cemetery. I want to congratulate Tony and our staff, along with our grounds maintenance contractor, Knight Solutions, for their hard work and dedication in maintaining these hallowed grounds as one of the most dignified cemeteries of the nation. With deep respect and gratitude each year, we observe Memorial Day on the final Monday in May. On this day, we bear witness, bringing honor and meaning to a tradition of tribute for our departed heroes, those courageous men and women who answered the call of duty and served in harm's way for the sake of this great nation. For all those who are here today, who are honoring this Memorial Day without their mom or dad, grandpa or grandma, brother or sister, husband or wife, I want you to know that this shrine is built to honor them all, and you have our deepest condolences. Today is a fitting time to reflect on President Lincoln's charge to care for those who shall have borne the battle and for their families and survivors. In closing today, I would also like to remind you to join Americans across our great nation for the Memorial Day National Moment of Remembrance tomorrow, Monday at 3 p.m. Wherever you are, please pause for 1 minute in this act of American unity. You will be demonstrating our gratitude and respect for those who died for our freedom. So as we gather here today on this special day of remembrance, I ask that God bless all those who have served and those who have sacrificed, so that we may truly be the land of the free and the home of the brave. And now it is my extreme pleasure to introduce to you our guest speaker for today. Brigadier General Rich Blunt, U.S. Army retired, was born in New York, New York. He graduated from Norwich University in May 1972 with a bachelor's degree. He is a graduate of the Transportation Corps Officer Basic, the Infantry Officer Advanced course, numerous specialty courses, the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute, the Command and General Staff College, the Army War College, and the National Defense University's Capstone General and Flag Officer course. During a career spanning over 33 years of active and reserve service, Brigadier General Blunt has served in numerous command and staff assignments. He was commanded at the company, battalion, and brigadier levels, and served both in Europe and Asia. Among his assignments were Commander, 297th Combat Support Battalion, Commander, 297th Regiment, Regional Training Institute, Deputy Chief of Staff, Operations Alaska Army National Guard, Commander, Task Force Falcon, Rear, Operation Joint Guardian, Kosovo, Commander, U.S. Forces, Macedonia, Director Operations, U.S. Forces, Korea, and Deputy Combined Rear Area Coordinator, Combined Forces Command, Korea. Following his retirement from the Army in September 2005, Brigadier General Blunt became the Director of Ministerial Reform for L3 MPRI in support of the Combined Security Transition Command, Afghanistan, where he directed efforts focused on the reform of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan's Ministries of Defense and Interior. In 2008, Brigadier General Blunt assumed responsibility for all of L3 MPRI's operations in the Republic of Korea. His particular areas of emphasis were the organizational structure and future relationship of U.S. Korea Command and Control Headquarters following the agreed-upon transition of operational control. Brigadier General Blunt returned to the United States in September 2010 to pursue active retirement and come and speak at engagements such as today. General Blunt?
Thank you. Hey, John, don't sit down. I need you to come up here. I got a few of these left. It's one of my coins. And it's for excellence, and it's for the job you do for veterans and their families. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
John, thanks for that introduction. Quite honestly, sounds good, reads well, but what I did and the few minor accomplishments I had pale in comparison to what you all have done to veterans out there, the families, and most of all, those who rest here. Before I begin, I would ask for us to observe a moment of silence for those who have fallen defending our nation and for those who today are on point preserving our freedoms. Thank you. Commissioner Mason, John, Colonel Nicely, fellow veterans, distinguished guests, and most of all, you, the residents of one of the most patriotic communities in America. I'm greatly honored to be here with you as we celebrate Memorial Day 2015. where we recognize the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II, the 65th anniversary of the start of the Korean War, and continue with the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. I'm extremely humbled to be here today and would like to thank the Sarasota National Cemetery Advisory Committee for providing me this privilege. I also want to thank the Patterson Foundation for showing what is truly a private, what happens and what works with a private-public partnership for what we're gathered today at Patriot Plaza. I am honored to speak at the first Memorial Day conducted here. I'm also going to admit I'm slightly nervous. John mentioned I was commissioned 43 years ago. And there are two people in the audience, one a veteran of World War II who fought throughout Europe with the 83rd Division, but they've never heard me speak. And I like to say I was raised by wolves, but I really do have parents. And I need to thank them, and they're here today, but thank them for allowing me to pursue my dreams. President Franklin Roosevelt said, "Those who have long enjoyed such privileges as we enjoy forget in time that men have died to win them." With the hectic lives we lead, it might be easy to think of Memorial Day as just the start of another 3-day weekend. However, the simple fact of your attendance here to honor America's heroes demonstrates your understanding and your desire to honor these men and women. You honor their memories and sacrifices by being here. You recognize that today is a time for our nation to reflect, to remember and honor those soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, merchant mariners, and yes, civilians who have made the ultimate sacrifice defending or supporting our great nation, its interests, and its ideals. Memorial Day is an opportunity for Americans to pay homage to those who died serving our nation and acknowledge the immense debt we owe them and the families and loved ones they left behind, who you know remember them this and every day. From our humble beginnings as a nation to our current status as a superpower, the men and women of this great nation have never hesitated to defend it against all enemies, giving their all to preserve the freedoms we hold dear. But it wasn't until after our Civil War that we began to formally recognizing our fallen with a national holiday. Since its inception in 1868, Memorial Day has become one of our nation's most important holidays. The story of Memorial Day began almost 150 years ago in the summer of 1865, when a local druggist, Henry Wells, mentioned to some of his friends at a gathering that while passing the living veterans of the Civil War, it would be well to remember the patriotic dead by placing flowers on their graves. Nothing became of this suggestion until he renewed the idea the following spring to Army General John Murray. General Murray himself was a Civil War hero and intensely patriotic. He supported the idea completely and marshaled veteran support. Plans were developed for a more complete celebration by a local citizens committee headed by Mr. Wells and General Murray. On May 5th, 1866, the village was decorated with flags at half-staff, draped with evergreens, and mourning black. Veterans, civic societies, and residents, led by General Murray, marched to the strains of music to the three village cemeteries. 1 year later, on May 5th, 1867, the ceremonies were repeated. As many of us know, Memorial Day was originally known as Decoration Day because it was time set aside to honor the nation's Civil War dead by decorating their graves. It was first widely observed on May 30th, 1868, to commemorate the sacrifices of Civil War soldiers. Army General John Logan, the Commander-in-Chief of the Veterans Organization, Grand Army of the Republic, proclaimed May 30th as Decoration Day by General Order 11 on May 5th, 1868. This was 2 years after the 1866 commemoration in Waterloo, New York. By congressional proclamation in 1966, Waterloo was cited as the birthplace of Memorial Day 100 years earlier. After World War I, the day came to be observed in honor of those who had died in all U.S. wars. It was renamed Memorial Day, and since 1971, Memorial Day has been observed on the last Monday in May. Memorial Day also marks the national moment of remembrance. Established by Congress, this sliver of time sets aside a moment for all Americans, wherever they are, at 3 p.m. local time, to pursue a moment of silence in an act of national unity. The moment does not replace the traditional Memorial Day events. Rather, it is a time, a minute, for all to honor and respect those who have died for our freedom. In this shared moment of remembrance, we connect as Americans, wherever we are. During the Revolutionary War, we lost more than 25,000 freedom seekers who fought for our independence from Great Britain. America lost more than 500,000 men of her own during the Civil War. 525,000 Americans died during World Wars I and II, while an additional 54,000 and 58,000 brave Americans perished during the Korean and Vietnam Wars. And let us not forget the loss of over 7,800 Americans during our operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and throughout the world during the continuing war on terror. Now, this list is not all-inclusive, but there is one thing common to all these conflicts. Despite what the pundits and the politicians would like you to believe, none of these Americans gave their lives during a losing effort, for the American military has never lost a war. Today, we honor these Americans who sacrificed their lives for the freedoms we hold near and dear today. We also honor those who voluntarily give up their time to be with their families as they serve our nation in support of the continuing operations against terrorism during this three-day weekend. Today, again, contrary to what the pundits and the politicians would like us to believe, we are a nation at war, pitting our most precious resource, our sons and daughters, in a global war against enemies whose fanatical ideas threaten our very way of life. And we will win that war. That is why we, the many, gather here to honor our veterans, the few who were so willing to defend their brothers and sisters, their country, and their way of life, the few. And as we all know, it is a small and getting smaller fraction of our population charged with preserving our liberties. So how do we properly thank this fragment of the population who has done so much to keep our prosperities and freedoms intact? It is interesting how different generations of veterans respond to being thanked for their service. The ever-dwindling number of World War II veterans generally seem to receive it politely, even stoically, knowing they had simply fulfilled their patriotic duty by defending America. For our most recent, Korean and Vietnam War veterans, too often overlooked, seem genuinely touched when welcomed home and remembered. And for our most recent generation of veterans, who represent an even smaller percentage of our population than previous conflicts, the gratitude is accepted, but many times with a sense of disconnect from their civilian peers. What is common to all veterans is the insistence that gratitude belongs not to them, but to those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. This brings me back to you, for by being here today, you truly understand the best way to say thank you is to honor America's fallen heroes, to care for their wounded comrades, and to safeguard their families. Let us heed President Roosevelt's warning and never forget the brave men and women who died to earn us our privileged American way of life. We will never forget them, and we will never forget their efforts to keep our nation free. In closing, let me say thank you for being here today, your patriotism, but most of all, your dedication to America and its heroes. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Those are words to take home. They are not forgotten is the theme of our recognition of the services and sacrifices of former prisoners of war and those who are still missing in action. It gives me great pleasure to introduce a real American hero. Colonel United States Army, retired Ben Knisley, grew up in the small town of Osprey, Florida, just a few miles south of here. He graduated from Riverview High School. He entered military service following his graduation from the University of South Florida in Tampa. And 27 years later, retired from the United States Army at the rank of colonel. During a tour in the Republic of Vietnam, then First Lieutenant Ben Knisley, while piloting a UH-1 medevac helicopter, was shot down in the A Shau Valley over enemy territory and was severely wounded in the crash. He and his crew were listed as missing in action in April 1968 and were subsequently rescued in a highly publicized, heroic, and daring mission executed by the Army's famous 101st Airborne Division, the Screaming Eagles. The details of the harrowing escape and evasion by Lieutenant Knisley and his co-pilot and the successful rescue efforts by a small special operations team is chronicled in a book by Peter Dolan called Dust Off 65. It was published in 1974. The infantry lieutenant who led the amazing rescue effort directly into the face of the enemy was recommended for the Medal of Honor. Because of his valor and heroism, 50 years ago, dust-off pilots like Ben Knisley have ensured that those men who were casualties in those long years ago are now grandfathers. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Colonel Knisley.
Thank you. Oh my. Thank you, Lee, for that gracious introduction, and thank all of you for that very warm reception. One of the most emotional aspects of every war that we have to deal with on a human basis is the unaccounted for missing warriors. The missing in action and prisoners of war overshadow the tactical, strategic, and political outcomes of every war. Some of our former POWs are here with us today. And to those of you wearing a POW MIA t-shirt, thank you very much for remembering. The thought and memory of a soldier unaccounted for lingers in our hearts long after the conflict is over. Our nation has fought battles for more than 2 centuries, and by some accounts, excluding the Civil War, we have today over 43,000 missing in action warriors from all of the U.S. conflicts. The majority of those numbers is related to the terrible loss at sea during World War II. Wars bring to our nation's door, a heart-wrenching reality. Some may go unaccounted for. This year, we commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. Unfortunately, we still have today 1,629 Americans unaccounted for related to that conflict. Imagine the anguish of a family who cannot find closure when the war is over. During the brief story that you just heard about me, there were moments when I thought, I won't be going home. I'm going to die in this God-forsaken place, or worse yet, be captured and tortured until I die. I had burns and a broken ankle and was unable to walk. And I told my co-pilot, you go and get out of this place. Maybe you can make it. But he said, oh no, we're a team, you and I. I'm staying with you. They will find us, and they will come. And it was that faith that our boys will come that prevailed and carried both Mike Meyer and I through those darkest hours. It was a special operations team of 6 brave men of the 101st Airborne Division that risked their lives to save me, and I will never forget them. I pray every day that I may live the rest of my life worthy of their unselfish and heroic efforts. An additional note about Memorial Day: to those who say we have no heroes anymore, and to quote President Reagan some years back, well, they just don't know where to look. Tell them to accompany you and stand them upon the grounds of this hallowed place, or any other national cemetery for that matter, and look upon the row after row of simple white markers that traverse for miles and miles. These stones represent only a fraction of the price we as a nation have paid for freedom and liberty. I submit to you, these are our heroes. They answered the call when our country needed them, and it is clearly an honor for all of us just to be here amongst them on this momentous day.
My name is Craig Gross, and I'm the proud father of Corporal Frank Robert Gross, who valiantly gave his life in Afghanistan 16 July 2011. 3 months after we buried him in Arlington on his birthday, on the very hour that he was born, I wrote this song. They buried my son in Arlington. I remember soldiers at my door. They said, your son won't be here anymore. I never knew how much I'd miss my son till they buried him in Arlington. Soldiers brave, they fought the fight of faith, and now they're resting in their resting place. They're all together with my son, the soldier they buried up in Arlington. Many a hero buried there, flags are waving in the air. God all America cares that my son is buried there. I remember the good times every day. Baseball, fishing, and the games we played. I'm still grieving about my son, the soldier they buried up in Arlington. Never knew that sad could be this sad. Never knew that bad could feel this bad. Never knew how much I'd miss my son until they bury him in Arlington. Now he's in heaven, standing at the gate. His mom and I, we just can't wait. We'll be together then with our son. The soldier they buried up in Arlington. There's many a hero buried there. Flags are waving in the air. I thank God all America cares that my son is buried there.
My son was Staff Sergeant Josh Hager, killed February 22nd, 2007. He lies in Fort Logan National Cemetery, but I is his grandfather, my dad, who served in World War II.
My son was United States Army Corporal Frank R. Gross, killed in Afghanistan, July the 16th, 2011.
And the proud mother of Specialist Patrick L. Way, killed in action on August 11th, 2011, and his resting place is here at the Sarasota Memorial Cemetery.
Many a hero buried there. Flags are waving in the air. I thank God all America cares that my son was buried there. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.
To the Gold Star families, thank you for your participation in today's service and sacrifice of your loved ones. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for a moment of silence, followed by honors.
Present. Herman.
Ladies and gentlemen, after benediction, would you please remain to honor the Vietnam veterans? Please uncover. Almighty and merciful God, we remember before you the heroes that lie here at Sarasota National Cemetery, Arlington, and Normandy, and other resting places on hallowed ground across this globe. We see the gardens of stone where they still stand the watch as marble sentries. We recall with reverence each and every one that died for the freedoms we enjoy today. Send us forth to remember and honor each one with each sunrise. We beseech you to watch over the men and women that protect us today. They are warriors of character and their nation's finest. We pray for our president and world leaders that your wisdom and guidance may prevail. Bless and protect military wives. Preserve marriages. May the Gold Star mothers and Silver Star mothers and Blue Star mothers know of our gratitude and reverence. As a mother would say, to the world he was a soldier, to me he was the world. For those of us left here, grant us your peace and mercy. May we be still, be proud, and most of all, be thankful. Amen.
Please be seated.
Like me. Say bless, bless, bless. Say bless, 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 bless. We're blessed, we're blessed, we're blessed. We're blessed in the city. We're blessed in the fields. We're blessed when we come, when we go. We cast down every stronghold, sickness and poverty. For the devil lives in me. We are blessed. Everybody say blessed, 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 blessed. We're blessed, we're blessed, we're blessed. We're blessed in the city. We're blessed in the fields. We're blessed when we come, when we go. We cast down every stronghold, sickness and poverty. For the devil is defeated. We are
Ladies and gentlemen, this year marks the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. As such, Congress authorized formation of the United States of America Vietnam War Commemoration Program. The Sarasota National Cemetery Advisory Committee has been designated as a commemorative partner and joins other communities in leading a nationwide initiative to thank and honor veterans of the Vietnam War, including those personnel This includes those personnel who were held as prisoners of war or listed as missing in action for their service and sacrifice on behalf of the United States, and to thank and honor the families of these veterans. So on this Memorial Day, we wish to recognize veterans of the tumultuous Vietnam War area who bravely faced harm to protect freedom. Accordingly, I would like to ask that all Vietnam veterans who wish to receive the special 50th year National Commemoration Award pin please come to the stairs to the right of the stage and allow those of us on this platform to share with you this recognition. Anyone needing assistance, please let us know by raising your hand, or if you can make it to the same area, you will be assisted via the backstage ramp area. Hold tight. Assisting me today is Sarasota Military Academy graduating senior cadet Trey Wildermuth. Trey Wildermuth has just received a 2015 congressional appointment to the United States Military Academy at West Point. He is truly a role model for all young men and women of this great nation.